brought to you by Freedom Media WA.
We stand for the group of over 3,000 frontline workers from police, healthcare, prisons, ambulance, education and fire and rescue.
We say no to medical mandates.
We say no to medical mandates.
We're here today to call on our Premier, Mark McGowan, and the Chief Health Officer, Andrew Robertson, to immediately withdraw this medical mandate.
I've been 31 years, 6 years at Perth Fire Station, 23 years Joondalup Fire Station.
I'm a senior firefighter, served with the EFAs for nearly 10 years. I love my job. I'm willing to risk my life to save that and another, and I'm out of a job come December 1st.
I do not know how I am going to support my family. Mark McGowan, if you can hear us, this is a family that's probably going to be on the street thanks to these mandates.
I'm a senior constable, been a police officer for 25 years. I will not sacrifice my principles or my beliefs. No to medical mandates.
I received my termination yesterday. I stand united with these frontline workers here with me today. Our message is clear. We stand to uphold ethics and human rights.
So I'm a doctor and a former nurse. I'm midwife. I love my job. I'm very passionate about patient advocacy, informed choice. It's time to say no. Stand together united.
In the Fire and Rescue Department for over 41 years. Roll ahead, 55.
I'm 22 years old. I work part-time for Coles and Joondalup. I also have family members who work for Waypole.
We stand strong, we stand united, and as a teacher of 10 years now.
My concern is primarily with the children that we teach. You're all hurting, society's hurting. We're going to have to teach these children next year whose parents have lost their jobs. They may not have a home, they may not even have an education.
And at the end of it, we get dismissed and disrespected. Mark, you're gutless, mate. You really are gutless. God bless you all.
I've been a nurse for 27 years, plus 3 years for my degree. And for a government to coerce us unlawfully into doing something that we don't want to do is abominable.
I'm a nurse. I've been a nurse for 4 years.
I'm a police officer for 25 years, which is short.
I have worked as a health support worker for the last 3 years in emergency. I have been 13 years in a hospital. I thank you all for the courage that you have brought to this in protecting our community and standing by them to say no to medical mandates and yes to the freedom that we were given with our God-given right.
Mark McGowan, you are actually a shame to our healthcare system. The bed state emergency and the nursing shortage and all of our emergency services shortage has been in crisis for years.
I think it's obscene and disgusting that you're actually forcing this on the people. You're supposed to be there for the people. You were elected by the people, for the people, not for your own ends. And the same goes for Chris Dawson. You're supposed to be the police commissioner. You are the police commissioner, but you're not our police commissioner.
I have Queensland Liberal Senator Gerard ready, and he's going to attempt to say a few words. Go ahead.
I'm absolutely disgusted and ashamed in the actions of all governments over the last 18 months. I think the level of government overreach that we have seen is basically tyrannical, and you don't protect the weak by destroying the strong. And you certainly don't attack our emergency service workers like yourself. Please accept my apology. You know, for example, the World Health Organisation's database of adverse events there's been more reported deaths and injuries from these vaccines than the entire vaccines in the last 30 years.
We are standing with everyone, not only in Western Australia, we're standing as Australians because everyone knows this border nonsense Federation got rid of our borders. We are one self-governing colony. I don't make that claim. Federation made that claim. And what these premiers are doing to us to try and stop our movements and freedoms right throughout the country, they will be held to account. They are nothing but usurpers. We've got all the evidence and we're now applying it. We need to get the right jurisdiction, and we ask for everyone to vote back into the Parliament for the purpose of getting us back under our Commonwealth so we can uphold our freedoms and rights in this country.
It's totally wrong. And what they're doing is what you find that this is really a form of control. When you strip it all down, it's just control versus freedom. This is a form of control. Wherever someone tries to control, always, beneath control, there is fear. Always. I don't have a need to control anyone if I'm not afraid of them.
We've got a Labor Party that's making dictatorships around the world look good. They're mandating and doing things against the people's will, which is neither democratic nor is it constitutional. So we need to stand up for our rights and we need to make our voices heard. Every single one of you that's standing up right now, don't give up your day jobs. Do not resign or quit. If you have to, go on stress leave. If you have to, go to Fair Work. But don't give up your jobs. None of these mandates are legal. What we've noticed of late is the government's become above the law. They've made it so that they're exempt. Members of Parliament are exempt. But the rest of the people can be put in this trial against their will through mandates.
And if you had anything that you wanted to say to Mark McGowan, what would it be?
I don't think that Mr McGowan is governing this state for the good of the state and the good of the people here. I think Mr McGowan has got an agenda all of his own. This is not a medical issue, it's more of a political issue.
People are suffering, mental health is through the roof. We've been seeing the statistics from Lifeline. Quite frankly, a lot of people here today don't know how they're going to feed their families, but we're willing to walk away from our jobs in order to stand in truth and in righteousness and to draw this line in the sand. And Mark McGowan will never ever forget this. You will answer for your crimes, if not to us, the people, then to Almighty God.
I believe that we are all waking up to how bad the system really is, and that we, as the will of the people, can create change together.
Coming from Berlin, we had this in 1989, people coming together, 4 or 5 people in a church in East Germany. Now, if you know anything about history, you understand that this grew into millions of people. And I see, watching the rallies from way back, how this movement has grown. So don't fear, you're not alone. We can all get on top of this and throw them once out.
Because our democracy, beautiful country Australia, and the rest of the world became dictatorship.
Please, would you like to say something to the United Services?
Same with mandating the breaching of medical privacy. It will only lead to medical discrimination, and I simply think that's not fair.
Falsifying the documentation, or they're saying they're reporting things but they're downplaying it, so it's not accurate documentation.
People have sent me an incredible amount of information, and some of the things that some of these things have come up in the email correspondences that I've had from them.
Because my hospital alone is losing 70 staff, and we're not going to, that whole community catchment is going to crumble without that 70 staff. And now when the day I got fired, because I've already been fired, there was 4 new grads starting on my ward, and they're expected to be fully fledged, working, capable staff by Christmas. That is incredibly dangerous, putting the community at risk. For what? We practice bodily autonomy, informed consent, all these things, and we're just abused.
We already know there is a high level of suicide in Western Australia.
There has been a commitment tomorrow in Parliament.
I will be bringing this up. So
Thank you very much. The only person today that has taken the time to stop and hear some of these stories. So again, thank you on behalf of the people for your time.
We all bleed the same. We all die the same. And when you're in an emergency, it does not matter what colour, what race, what your choices are. We try to save your life as best as we can, no matter what. And this is not a time to separate.
And Mark McGowan will never ever forget this. You will answer for your crimes. If not to us, the people, then to Almighty God.
Brought to you by Freedom Media WA. Like, share and subscribe to my channel to see real people telling real stories.